by using one of the features in Google Earth, the 3D buildings. And Paul, if you can go ahead and call it the model. You will actually now be able to follow the construction of this new bridge. And so we're going to show some imagery as I talk about some of the features. And what we've done here is tried to create a little bit of synergy between what happens in the Google Earth environment that's available to such a large audience and what we can do on baybridgeinfo.org, where you can get the latest information about exactly what we're doing on the Bay Bridge project. So we'll take a look at some of the features now, and what my colleague Paul here, in a nice hat, is showing you is the Google Earth model. You can see this. I'm going to step away from here. This is the main tower. This is the bridge deck. All of that is transparent. When we got to the point of wanting to use this tool, and we approached Google Earth, we asked them if we could put the bridge in their environment. And the first response was kind of like, well, how can we really do that? Because it's not there, and what they want to show is the world the way that it is. So one of the great things about the phenomenon that is Google is that they're willing to listen. They're willing to talk with you. So we went down to their offices and showed them a model and pitched them on a convention where the bridge would be shown as transparent for the parts that haven't been built yet. And the parts that have been built will be solid. And then we would take the responsibility for updating this model inside of Google Earth so that you could constantly follow our progress with building the new bridge. So now if you go to Google Earth right now, and Paul, if you can move into the actual model, you will see huge portions of the eastern span of the bridge already constructed. So we'll zoom right down in there into the Bay Area. There's our bridge in the center. Now, anywhere where you have access to Google Earth, you can take your own tour of the bridge as we're constructing it. You can fly around it, you can take a boat underneath it, you can climb on it. The way that we're able to communicate our progress with this job is by using a convention where the latest area, the latest piece of the self-anchored suspension bridge that we're working on is going to appear highlighted in green. And so as you see this pan go around the self-anchored suspension bridge, that sort of fluorescent green area, that's where we're working right now. And when we go out on a boat in a minute, you'll really be able to match up these models in the virtual world with where we're actually at in the 3D world. Google was also good enough to allow us to put some of our temporary false work in there. Now that false work in the real world is 10 times bigger than what you normally see on any bridge project. So it's really indicative, a key part of what we're doing to build the world's largest self-anchored suspension bridge, and there it is in all its 3D glory. So 3D has kind of become a buzzword these days, and it's not just the domain of James Cameron and George Lucas. You can now, as a user, by using Google Earth, fly right in and check on a public works project that is the Bay Bridge right here in the Bay Area. Now, moving on beyond that, this is really, we perceive this on the project side, on the Bay Bridge team side, a gateway. There's hundreds of millions of people that can potentially use Google Earth. And simply by clicking on this bridge, you'll be able to transport yourself over to our website where you can get even more content. And Paul, if you can show us the bubble that comes up. I'm going to step away from the mics again just to give you an idea how this works. You click on the bridge, this bubble will present itself, and you'll have immediate information on what we're doing that day. You'll also see the same convention as you're heading to our website that you have there on Google Earth. You'll see a highlighted section of where we are. And literally today, we're starting to work on our second section. We're staging that to be lifted. So this is where you're at. You can get a little technical information on how much the piece weighs, how long it is, all that stuff. And then you can click right through on this to go into you can click right through on that bubble to go into our website. So Paul, if you'll take us there. Now you've arrived at baybridgeinfo.org through that gateway. Now you can go to baybridgeinfo.org on your own. You'll come into our main header page, and you can click on a link from there to get here as well. But we're just sort of following, well, don't do that. Because then you'll see us doing this, and that gets all weird. But this is one way you can do it, or we're just going to follow right now the way that you get there through Google Earth. So you've just arrived on our webpage through Google Earth, and then you have this type of navigation where you can literally come in and mouse over. All right, Paul, this is where you get to follow my finger. Mouse over these individual sections and get different information. You're not keeping up, man. Come on. Okay, get back up here. So you can see, I mean, we're just beginning this right now. Every one of these pieces, as you move along, you can get some very basic information on how long they are, how much they weigh. But if you come back down here to where we're working, that one, this is where you can get even more content. So let me say that over here. So after you've come into our website, you'll have this type of navigation where you see the bridge and you can mouse over different elements of that structure. And then if you go to the area that we're currently working on, that will be highlighted in green, you'll have even more content that you can look at. And simply by clicking on something like the picture there, you can see one of the still shots that we've had just from 2 days ago, when we lifted that first piece into place. So on the handout that we gave you, you saw there's a lot of different options for content. We're going to give you a couple of samples of that in this presentation right now. Here's a sample of some of the still imagery that will be available. Go ahead and close out of that, Paul. And then the other thing that we have are our simulations. Now we have had to do a lot of 3D work on this bridge. And actually, I would be remiss if I didn't say that the actual design of the bridge was done by T.Y. Lynn Moffitt Nickel with a lot of oversight from Caltrans engineers, and every bit of it was peer-reviewed by other professionals in the industry. There's no Howard Rourke on the Bay Bridge. There's no Frank Lloyd Wright. There's no one person that came up with this design. This is a team effort. And so with that understood, you can actually see a lot of the different 3D elements that have been created by different folks depending on their responsibilities right from this website. So Paul, if you'll show them one of the simulations that we have there, like this one. This animation was created to help people understand how we're building a self-anchored suspension bridge. It's very different than a traditional suspension bridge, like the Golden Gate or the west spans of the Bay Bridge. We literally have to put the deck in first. We'll be placing the tower simultaneously. Then we will put the cable system in place, transfer the load. So animations like this are not only to educate the public, but we are about to embark on an educational outreach program where we're going to try and teach kids and motivate them, hopefully, to get more involved with engineering and science. Anyone that has any business, any agency that's got a technical expertise need knows that there's a huge human resource problem in the future with kids studying sciences. So one of the reasons why you build an architectural icon is to inspire people. And when you compare that with the three things here on the Bay Bridge, inspiration along with seismic safety or even keeping the bridge open, it seems to kind of trail off into the background.